Hey guys, Genuine Love checking in. Key West, Florida in the background. I made a post earlier and the post was just talking about, for women not to buy into the lie that men don't exist. And then I found out after I made that post that it's today is International Men's Day, which I didn't even realize that when I made the post. And then after I made that post this morning, I was inspired to share a video that I recorded a while back that was just an inspirational video from my heart to men. And I was going to post that, and the Spirit was like, no, just go live and just share from your heart. So here we go. I think there's a whole lot of energy in the collective, different things coming to the surface, but one of the main things is the harmony between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And I think that, or I don't think, I feel that one of the most important things for us to collectively do is be vulnerable. And that scares the shit out of people, but we're not going to get to where we say we want to go without that, period. So this is a vulnerable share from me to you, and it's also just acknowledgement for, the men out there who are a safe space for, not just women, but for other men, because brotherhood is important as well. That's a whole nother video. But for me, like, starting at a very early age, if there was ever a reason for me to, hate men or ban men off or just think that they're terrible, I have so many different stories that I could tell you, and I'm not going to tell all of them in this video, but I will just tell you, if there was anyone who would have a reason to be like, oh man, it would be me. Yet there's been something, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just because, my nature is always to come back to love and forgiveness. No matter how far away from that I may get in any given moment, I always end up back there. And there's been a lot of men in my life that I've had to forgive. A lot. Starting with my father, the main one, you know what I'm saying? And I've been molested by men, I've been violated by men, I've been beaten by men, I've been, stalked by men. I've had a whole lot of things happen at the hands of men. Yet, along my journey, I had to do one thing that is probably the most courageous and scariest thing that I've ever done, and that was face my own bullshit. Face my own stuff that was like, okay, why are you attracting these types of things, these type of experiences? And I'm not saying as a kid you're attracting molestation, that's not what I'm saying. But whatever my soul contract is with these experiences, what can I learn from it? What can I gain from it? And for me, the authentic answer was never to hate men. That never seemed like the right thing or the logical thing to do. Like, I never went there. Even with my dad and even with my ex-husband, who very abusively violated me, there was nothing but forgiveness for them. And it takes time to get there, right? But then I want to just discuss like the aftermath of that, because you don't deal with everything that happens to us as kids. People say, oh, well, that was then, this is now, get over it. But your nervous system doesn't get over it unless you're doing a lot of meditating and breath work and sound therapy and yoga and doing things to help your nervous system get back to its most natural state. Every time you're triggered, that nervous system is going to react to that. And so along my journey with men, I have had some of the most interesting experiences, and I haven't always been genuine love. Sometimes I've been Jenny from the block, you know what I mean? And it always has bothered me, because I'm like, why do I flip the fuck out? What is like, I want to have control over how I'm thinking and feeling at all times, and then how I'm reacting, you know, to that. And that's why another one of my videos I was sharing, like, it's never good to act in a hyper mode where your nervous system is really charged up. You know what I'm saying? It's never, anything you say or do from that place is not going to be beneficial to love and peace, period. You know, and I have to learn that, but I don't always get it right. Sometimes I react right in the middle of that shit, and I'm just like, you're gonna feel what I feel like. And I've noticed, like, the more scared I feel, the more angrier I feel. Or like, if I feel like my energy isn't safe in this space with this person or in this situation, then I tend to react very, you know, like in an anger space. And it's been interesting to date and to have connections with men, because I have to face that shit, and it will keep showing up in every man that I date in a different way, because I have to face that, you know. And one of the things that I feel is really important for anyone who desires an authentic connection, you know, that is not free of drama, because people think you're gonna have shit come up, period. I don't care how spiritual you are, how much you meditate, there's a whole lot of shaking going on, and you're gonna have stuff come up. So we're not talking about if stuff comes up, we're talking about how do we deal with it when stuff comes up. And I just really want us not to make the other person the enemy. You know, it's not like all men are dogs. I don't believe that. I've never believed that. I have never believed that. And even if the men that maybe I've gotten into what you would call like karmic connections or soul contracts, whatever, I still always, they're always good men. I don't attract freaking losers, you know what I mean? But it's just like, depending on where your karmic connection is, where you are energetically, how you're going to respond. Like, that's how we have different experiences with different partners. But I really want to encourage men, especially, because like, it seems like there's a whole lot of women's groups and women's circles and, you know, sisterhoods and things like that. But I feel like it's really important for men to stick together, and not just men to stick together, but for women who are in the lives of men. And we're not just talking about romantic relationships, bump that. We're talking about men, period. If you see a man, uplift him. You can just smile. You can say, hey, have a nice day. You can be like, how are you doing? Just whatever. Just begin to acknowledge and appreciate the masculine energy, regardless of what kind of experiences you may have had in your past, regardless of what you may be experiencing now. There is good to be celebrated in every single person, man or woman, right? And it's courageous to look for that. Any person with any amount of, you know, if you're breathing, you can find something that you don't like about any situation, any person. It's not hard to do that. That takes no skill. It takes no spirituality. You can find crap you don't like about anything or anyone. The real courageous decision and choice comes in when you begin to look for the good that you want to see. When you stop complaining about what isn't the way you want it to be, and you start appreciating what is the way you want it to be. Whether it's 10 things, 5 things, 1 thing. And for me, it's like, I have had men step up to the plate in my life in ways that blow me away, you know? And as my energy started to heal, I started to attract men with more pure motives, you know, and not just pure motives, but a desire to see me shine in all of my glory. Because that's so important for the feminine energy, to feel safe in a masculine's energy. Like, we need to feel safe, period. Mind, body, spirit, like, we need to feel safe. And yes, safety comes from men and all that, but if you're bringing some whack ass energy, and now my energy, I hope the wind isn't too loud, and now my energy is all affected by that, you know, eventually that's going to cause a discord in the connection, because we all want to feel safe, and we all want to be able to know that we can share who we are and it be okay. And sometimes you're gonna come undone, period. Like this belief that we're gonna find a twin flame and everything's gonna be hunky-dory and sunshine and rainbows and, you know, butterflies. You're fooling yourself, man. If you really believe that, you're fooling yourself, because we're humans. We've all had experiences that, whether we realize it or not, whether we're actively working on it or not, affects how we show up with ourselves in relationship. And so you have to be committed to doing the inner work, not for them, but for you. And then when you begin to really do that, it's like your relationships will either rise up to meet you, or they'll drift away, and new people will come in, and different, you know, everyone has their own experiences, you know. We're not here, you know, to judge or to determine what other people's path is. We're just here to be the most authentic version of ourselves possible. And my most authentic version of myself has a deep appreciation for the masculine energy. And I've had so many men just hold space for me. When I can feel it coming up now. I'll come undone. I mean, come undone. Whether it's tears, whether it's rage, whether it's just insecurity and jealousy, like, they have held me. And they have let me just come undone. With no punishment and no feeling of, now I see you as less than I did before you came undone. And that is so important, because, and that's why I talk about self-love all the time, because if you can't sit with your own bullshit, you'll never be able to sit with mine. If you get freaked out over every, you know, shadow aspect of yourself, I know I'm not safe with you, because inevitably some crap is going to come up, you know. And so when you have taken the time to cultivate that ability to be a safe space for yourself and be able to see and feel and sit with the parts of you that you're just like, ooh, I don't like that about me. Like, I wish I could change that, and I need to change that, and I want to change that, and I don't want anybody to see that, because if they do, they might like me less, and maybe not at all, you know. But when you're able to sit with those feelings and not numb them, not judge them, not try to run from them, not try to change them and make them spiritual, but when you can sit with that, then now you're a place of unconditional love for yourself, acceptance for yourself, and now you're safe for me. Because when you see me come undone, you're not going to flip out and run, because you understand what it's like to be in that space where you need to be held, because you're moving through some heavy shit. I don't care who you are, whether you meditate, whether you're vegan. I don't care if you know, go to Buddhist temple or you don't. I don't care where you live, what race you are. You are going through evolution right now, period. Everybody is going through change, every single person on the planet. And so that's where human compassion comes in, you know, forgiveness comes in, unconditional love comes in, you know. And so, yes, we've all had jacked up experiences in relationships. You know, we've had jacked up experiences that have hurt us, left us tainted, left us on guard. But it doesn't have to stay like that. Like, there are healing modalities available, and if you want to have something different, you got to do something different, period. So we can't sit around and complain that we're getting more of the same when we're not doing anything to be different, you know. So the main thing is looking at your own shit, looking at it, not judging it, not numbing it, you know, not trying to make it more spiritual, but just feeling it, learning how to be that safe space for yourself, because then you're able to be that safe space for others. And I appreciate the men in my life who are doing that inner work and who are a safe space for me in whatever capacity. We're not just talking about romantic relationships. We're talking about brotherhood, sisterhood, humanity, unity, to consciousness, collective consciousness together. That energy goes out. So you can't sit man hating one man and think you're not affecting every man on the planet, because you are. You are. And likewise, when you're appreciating even just one man, it could just be for one thing. You don't have to have a whole laundry list. You could just find one thing to milk that thing. You know what I mean? But just find one thing, and that energy ripples out and encourages men. And they might be, just going about their day and just all of a sudden feel a wave of just, wow, I just feel like life is good and things are going to work out. I don't feel so stressed right now. And they don't even know why, but it's energy. Energy is the most real thing on this planet, and I just appreciate those that are taking the time and having the courage, because it's not a big walk in the park. It's not all glamorous and, look at my perfect little yoga pose and my kale smoothie plate, whatever. I'm just saying all of these things are good, but vulnerability, unconditional love, human compassion, understanding, that's what's needed on the planet right now. That's what's needed on the planet right now. And it starts with ourselves first, but then it spreads out into our connections. And I know I probably went a bunch of different places here, but I do want to just share. I hope that it's coming through, love and appreciation for the masculine energy, and encourage you to do the work and know that you don't become less attractive. You're not weak. You're not, a punk, whatever these terms that men have in their head. Like if you're emotional, or if you show your emotion, or if you let your guard down and do these things, like all of a sudden you're, less than. No, the hell you're not. Let me just tell you, that is the sexiest thing in the world. The sexiest thing in the world. For me, and I know several of my, female friends, is when you are in that space of taking accountability for your own bullshit. You're taking accountability for what you're bringing to the table. And we're not talking about money and cars and houses and all of this. We're talking about what energy are you bringing to my space, period, And when you take the time to do that, you not only uplift yourself and your partner, but again, you send that energy out into the planet. And so let us really just make that something serious, that it's a priority. We make so many things a priority that in the grand scheme of things don't even matter. Human connection. We were built for human connection, period. And it's not meant to be, walk in the park all the time. It's not even meant to be, stormy all the time. It's the ebb and a flow. I'm sitting out here on the ocean, and the waves have been kind of angry, the last couple of days, like big and bouncy. And, but she's still beautiful. I can't stop looking at her, and the wind is blowing and it's cleansing my energy and my aura. And, then other days she's smooth and she's calm, and, there's not hardly a ripple or a wave, but in all of her ways, she's beautiful. And that's how we are as humans. In all of our ways, we're beautiful. In all of our waves, we're beautiful. Some waves might be bumpy and turbulent, that bring up a lot of shit and seaweed and debris, but you're still beautiful in that. And so that's what I just want to encourage you and leave you with. And know that as a man, that is the most powerful thing that you could do for anyone in your life, but most importantly yourself, is to be in that space where you're taking accountability for who you are. You're giving yourself permission to be authentic. You're giving yourself permission to be vulnerable. You're giving yourself permission to open up your heart space and let people in, and that is what's needed on the planet, that balancing of energies where we both, masculine and feminine, learn how to coexist in harmony and not judgment, or, oh, we're so different and you're never going to understand women and all men are dogs. Like that shit is so outdated. It's so outdated, and it's not helpful and it's not beneficial, you know? So it's like, we're either going to do the work that needs to be done to get something different, or we're not. But if we're not, shut up, don't complain. Just shut up and don't complain, because you're choosing that, you know? And if you choose that, that's okay. You're still, you know, a beautiful human being in that. Nobody's judging you. That if that's what you want to do, fine. But some of us want to do things differently and live in peace and harmony. And that doesn't mean you're not going to have shitty days and stormy waves, you know? But it means that through the storm, you're a space of unconditional love for yourself. And hopefully you have people around you that are a space of unconditional love for you in those stormy waves, you know? So shout out specifically on International Men's Day. Again, I had no idea when I made that post earlier, but I just thought it was pretty cool synchronicity. And I just encourage y'all to keep up the good work. Reach out to other men who are doing the work. If you need referrals, I have a whole list of them. So I can definitely hook you up with some great teachers and brothers who can hold you in a safe space. You know, sometimes you might feel vulnerable coming to your woman or you know, somebody like that to share, you know, so that's why it's important for brotherhood to be an aspect. So anyway, I'm going to cut this off now, and I am going to answer. I see y'all have some comments. I'll go back and answer them after the video. I do want you to see the water a little bit. It's kind of windy out there, so I can't really take the phone out. It's really windy. Really, really windy. Anyhow, sending y'all so much love. Thank you for tuning in. Catch you next time. Namaste.